So you know how you often say it's good if if you just stay with the feelings in the body, right?
Yeah.
So like my main defense mechanism is wishful thinking and like kind of utopian thinking. Like I tend to escape a lot into my mind.
Yeah.
And whenever I try to do sitting with my emotions, that's what happens. Like I can't go beyond that. So
you start imagining. What sort of things do you imagine?
Like it's just getting to a certain destination. Like I want it right now. So if I have like any distress in my body, I guess I just want to get rid of it immediately. Like I kind of pretend that I want to stay with it, but it's more about getting rid of it, I guess.
Yeah. And so how do you go about doing that? You imagine something better happening?
Well, to be honest, at the moment it's more of like I'm just sitting and more distressing than even like, because I think in many ways I misinterpret non-duality sometimes.
Yeah.
So when teachers say like don't think, I might take it literally even though I don't want to sometimes. So I will sit and try not to think, and it causes even more distress in my body.
Yeah.
But it's even in like normal life, so even at work. Yeah, I have a hard time relaxing, really.
So let's try a bit of a meditation now. So if you shut your eyes, what's going on in your body? So just put your attention around your body and really take your time. You don't have to feel any silence. I don't really know what's going on, so you don't have to try and please me. I'm just responding to whatever's happening. So just take your time looking to see what's happening in your body, and move the attention down to your toes, your knees, your hips, your chest. What do you feel?
I feel it's hard to find pain in the heart area.
Yeah.
I'm nervous.
Yeah.
And like I felt the urge to describe it at first, but at the same time I'm trying to stop myself.
Sorry, say that last bit again.
Yeah, it's hard to describe. It's like I really wanted to tell you how I feel right away. The urge came, but at the same time, my mind is trying to stop me from
doing so. Why is it trying to stop? It feels embarrassed, or? exposed?
Yeah, I guess I don't want to seem like I don't know.
That's okay. So let's go to the heart area, because that's the area you spoke about. And what does that feel like?
It's tension from my arms across my chest.
Do you feel any emotions there?
Just nervousness and I kind of feel like I can't hide anything from you, even if I wanted to. But it's not just you. I mean, more like in general with people, I guess. Like I have poor boundaries, I guess.
Yeah. So I get the sense that you need to do some work on investigating the bodily sensations. Like it's maybe not the time to do it with you now, because it's a very vulnerable thing to do and you might feel quite exposed on this live stream. But really, sensations is consciousness. The way that life is experiencing itself is through sensations, so through the bodily sensations. And those bodily sensations and that which it perceives are the same. So the hearing and the heard are the same, the seeing and the seen are the same, the feeling and the felt, the smell and the smelling is the same. All of the senses and the world are the same thing. It's the way life perceives is through the senses. So you could say all there is sensing. And that sensing is sensed by no one and is everything. So when you're by yourself, or you could go to a group, like a meditation group, to begin to get more in contact with those sensations. When you separate, what happens is the thinking mind tries to cut off sensation because it finds sensation uncontrollable. So it's scared of sensation, it's scared of physical pain, it's scared of emotional pain, like it's scared of feeling hurt, and it feels like it can't control it, but it feels like it can control thinking. So it imagines its world, and it imagines reality, and it imagines what's happening. So when you walk into a room, your mind is very subtly telling you a story about what's happening, rather than actually experiencing walking into a room. And the mind and that seeker feels like it controls life by doing this. But it kind of gets out of control. It's like it puts too much attention in thinking, then thinking dominates. Thinking then tries to stay in one polarity of positivity, and by trying to stay in one polarity, it encourages the negative polarity. Like, so it tries to stay happy, and by trying to stay happy, you encourage sadness, because in order to experience happiness, you need to know all the other emotions and feelings. So it tries to have only happy, positive stories, and it gets haunted by negative, dark stories. And it tries to always stay in the positive, but then it keeps getting haunted and invaded by the negative. And this happens over time. This mechanism gets more and more encouraged, and it grows and grows and grows. And then what happens is the body becomes uncomfortable because it becomes very tight and very locked. And it feels overwhelmed because the thinking is producing also lots of feelings which are uncontrollable. And this is something that grows over time. So when you first identify as a child at 1 or 2, there is suffering, there is seeking, there is a sense of feeling separate, but it's not that heavy. The heaviness grows over years and years of trying to find refuge in time and kind of living in this illusion. And then the seeking gets more and more stronger, and the body gets more and more uncomfortable, and the experience gets more and more tight and dense. And then it can't find freedom, it feels overwhelmed, and then normally that's when it changes its life, or goes to a therapist, or goes into spirituality, or does something to try and understand why it's suffering. So what I'd recommend for you is to do something where you're encouraged to put the attention in sensation and to understand sensation better. And ultimately that one that's putting the attention in sensation isn't the one that's going to wake up, that's being experienced. But just from working in this stuff many years now, I just know that the next thing that's got to happen there is waking up the sensations again. It's not you doing it, it might feel like you're doing it, and that you are finding the class and that you are putting your attention there, but it's actually just life's flow. And that's part of what seems to happen in the waking up process. So I don't know where you live, but I'm sure there's groups that you could look up on the internet. Vipassana might be.
Yeah, I'm from Poland. I'll have to.
Yeah, Vipassana might be a good one, like bodily sensation.
Well, the thing is, the harder I try, the more it hurts.
Sorry?
Like, whenever I try meditation, I literally try, so it hurts more, like the pain grows, but there's no release.
So what have you tried before?
It's just unbearable and I have to stop.
Yeah. What have you tried before?
I tried Vipassana.
Oh, you did?
It didn't work for me. I always control my breathing rather than just observe it.
So you did it the 10-day retreat?
No.
You just did a class?
No, I haven't tried.
When did you try? How did you try Vipassana? By yourself? At home?
By myself, yeah.
Through the internet?
Yeah. I tried yoga.
And this was painful as well?
Not as much as meditation, but it didn't help much as well.
And how many hours did you try the Vipassana for?
At first, I did it for usually an hour in the morning, an hour in the evening. And after about 6 months, I had like one opening when I thought for a second, I kind of like stepped out of my mind, and it lasted like 5 seconds, so that kind of motivated me, but at the same time it created more strain because I was trying even harder, and then I had to stop because the pain grew. Like, I understood that I shouldn't try because that's the point, like I should just let go, but I couldn't let go. I was just all the time in my mind and creating more pain and strain.
Yeah. Just give me a second. What about trying something like dance? Have you tried something like 5 rhythms before, or biodancer?
5 rhythms?
Yeah, you could look it up.
No.
You might find that is easier access into the body. So it's just like a free dance, but it's like no drinks, no alcohol, and it's done in a group, and it's about the attention moving back more to the body and more to sensation.
Okay.
And it might not be like meditation where you've got so much effort in trying to do something in the mind, like it's very physical. So it's like when you're sitting in meditation and then all the energy could go up here, but dance is kind of different. You've got to move your body, you've got to interact with other people. I'm sure they'll have it. You live in Warsaw?
No, in south of Poland.
What's the nearest city to you?
Sorry?
What's the nearest city? Is there a German city near you?
Katowice, German city. Not really, not really close.
I can't remember what the map looks like, but I think you're near Germany if you're in the south of Poland. Maybe Vienna you're near to? Austria?
Possibly, yes, but
not that close.
You mean, is it like a regular thing, or just like one
Yeah,
time?
no, it's like a regular thing normally, but you might not find it in your town. So you might find weekend workshops in these bigger towns, maybe German towns. I'm not sure about Poland.
Oh, okay.
Warsaw, you'd most probably have it. I'm not sure about the other towns.
I'll try to search online.
Yeah,
And see.
something physical like that. That's like
5
more.
rhythms.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was the other one? You said
Biodancer.
Okay.
Yeah, and then because I can imagine if you're sitting in meditation, I know the energy's here.
Yeah.
And it goes very strong, and it can encourage thinking. I did notice that when I used to be in Buddhist groups, and then it just gets really, really tense because you've got such a strong destination, like idea of destination. But yeah, but also listen to non-duality, because the true freedom doesn't come in form, and that's not the point. But I know that when listening to this subject, if you've got a strong mind and a strong aversion to the bodily sensations, then the mind will keep seeking for freedom in the mind. So you can listen to non-duality, but it'll keep trying to go there. So something physical, and I think you've already diagnosed this, that something physical would be good for you.
Yeah.
And you see, dancing, it's hard to think when you have to dance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So this might be good. Also tantra groups, and like tantra sounds, as soon as I say tantra, everyone thinks that I mean sex, and it's not sex, but tantra is a very physical practice as well. It's not sexual. Like Western people often interpret it as sexual, but it's normally a lot of breathing exercises.
Okay, I haven't heard of Tantra before, so I don't have any
ideas about it.
Yes, ideas.
It's got such a bad reputation in the West, but actually, when you really study it, it's about using the sexual energy, but it's not about having sex. It's not. It's using that life force energy, but it's very physical, and there's lots of breathing in it, and this also might be good as well. But also carry on listening to non-duality, because that is the true freedom. But it's almost like sometimes the bodies have to get to a certain place for it to be able to be heard.
Yeah. I mean, like most of the time, like I have a tension in my forehead.
Yeah.
And when I listen to you, it stops, like somehow, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm a really energetic speaker, so I'm sure that listening to me is really like good for you. Like listening and not thinking too much. Like I can't let you think too much because I always contradict myself, and I don't always make sense. I'm aware of that. So it does kind of like so that's a really good thing. But on the other, like doing something physical, and I was a big fan of Vipassana, but I can understand that if you've got a really strong intellect, like it's not so good for you, because it's just.
Yeah.
Then,
yeah, the one time it worked. I was doing. I don't know if you've heard of it. I stopped doing it because it's just too difficult. It's Buddhist meditation where you have to sit for as long as you can, without any motion.
Motion, any movement.
Without any movement, yes. So at some point I resisted moving so much that my mind just gave up, and that's how the 5 seconds of my signal happens.
Yeah, I used to do that a lot. Like I was a very hardcore meditator for many years, and I would have so much pain in my body from not moving that my body would get really distorted. Like it would feel like my body was on back to front, and then it would feel like my knees were going into the ground and my head was on the ceiling. But one time I was doing it and I was in so much pain. I was like, I can't take this, and I felt like I was going to cry from the pain. And I was just waiting for the bell. Like every second I was like, where's the bell? Where's the bell? It was so painful. And then the bell went, and when I moved my legs, I realised there was no pain. I wasn't in pain. I just sat there and imagined pain. So when I moved my legs weren't in pain. And I was like, the mind is a crazy place.
Yeah, I don't know. I always had cold feet afterwards.
Yeah, that might be from the way you were sitting.
Oh, maybe.
You're like cutting off the circulation.
Oh no.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I think dancing
Yeah.
might be a good idea, actually.
Yeah. And also, if you find that listening to me stops it, then that's really beautiful, because I'm not a really heady teacher, even though I can sound like it sometimes. When I'm speaking, it's more about just collapsing into me speaking, like just falling into the words. That's more what is meant. So that's beautiful. But thank you for calling in and exposing yourself and being so vulnerable. It always touches me, people's openness. Nice to speak to you. I think I've seen your name a few times on here, but this is the first time.
Yeah, I've been sending you many questions, because sometimes I'm just like sending out. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is the first time we've spoken. I'm not sure though. I forget.
Yeah.
Nice. Thanks. Nice to speak with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.